5:30, the North Rock School District Office of the Superintendent agenda special board meeting held at the Administration Office, 2400 Willow Street, North Little Rock, Arkansas. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the meeting will be held via Zoom video conference for participants. Viewers will be able to watch VA North Rock School District Facebook page live stream. At this time, I will officially call the meeting to order. Ms. Colquitt, call the roll, please.
Campbell. Elizabeth Huggins.
Here.
Rochelle Redis. Tracy Steele. Cindy Temple.
Here.
Natalie Wonka. Dorothy Williams.
Here. At this time, our new business for today is the superintendent search process, and our presenters from Ray and Associates, Dr. Davis and Mr. Ray. And the first topic for discussion is Ray and Associates. You may begin. Dr. Davis?
He needs to unmute.
Yes. How are you all? How's everyone?
Good. Thank you.
I'm Carl Davis. I'm waiting a little bit, if I can, for Ryan to come online and meet with us. He's going to be the lead person on the search. But just to kind of give you a little idea of who I am Carl Davis. I live here in Atlanta. I've worked for Ray and Associates doing for the last 14 years doing superintendent searches. I am a professor at Mercer University here in Atlanta. Former superintendent, 45 years as an educator, and probably this summer I'm going to retire and just hopefully just do some things that I want to do, some things that I hadn't been able to do. But I'm glad to be a part of this process. And Ryan should be on in just a few minutes. Oh, there he is now. Ryan?
I am here.
I just gave you a little background about myself.
Okay. Wonderful.
Your turn.
Okay. Everybody, my name is Ryan Ray. I am the president of the firm Ray and Associates. And we're absolutely pleased to be part of this discussion with you tonight. And we're happy to help you find your next leader and your next superintendent. So thank you for having us. So who else do we have on the line?
Mr. Ray and Dr. Davis, we certainly appreciate your services, but you sent us communication last minute and there was enough information to us to disseminate, but as a positive board in trying to move forward, we will go ahead and accept everything that you sent today. And then in the future that I'm asking you, Mr. Ray, just if we could get it, in advance. A lot of our board members work and they wouldn't have had the time, to look through everything. But again, thank you.
We appreciate you saying that, and we will do better in the future.
Yeah, a lot of this we're going to go through together. We're going to go through it absolutely together as a group. So understand your comment.
And feel free to stop us at any time if it's something that you want us to explain.
Is the board able to go ahead and introduce themselves?
Okay. You said your topics for discussion, to begin with, you were going to have us to discuss, you sent us a sheet today to discuss the procedures for your number one thing was reimbursements of candidates' travel expense by the district should we choose someone from out of state. That was the topics for discussion that you had sent us. And then there were 12 items on here. Are we going to do one by one so we can get a clear understanding of what you are talking about?
Yes, ma'am. That is our plan. However, I was wondering if the board would like to introduce themselves. In fact, ma'am, I don't even know your name. So if I could go ahead and find out who you are, and as well as some of the other board members, that would be a help to us as we're doing this remote.
Okay. First thing we did not do for you and Dr. Davis, I would like to introduce each board member, okay?
That'd be great.
Who you are talking to. Sandy Campbell,
I'm Sandy Campbell. I've been on the board for 6 years.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Ms. Huggins,
I'm Elizabeth Huggins. I was appointed to the board in December.
Great. Thank you.
Dr. Redis,
Hi, I'm Rochelle Redis. This is my second time on the board. I was on the boards before for 6 years, and I got elected this second time in 2018.
Bless you. 2 terms. Bless you.
Mr. Steele,
I'm Tracy Steele, a proud member of the board and a proud graduate of North Little Rock High School.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Ms.
Go
Temple,
Chargers.
I'm Cindy Temple, and I think I've been on the board 3 years now.
Thank you, Cindy.
okay, Ms. Walkham,
Hi there, I'm Natalie Wonkum, and I've been on here for about 18 months.
Hi, Natalie. Thank you.
And could you share with us your positions? Who is the board chair and maybe vice chair? I'm sorry?
Dorothy Williams is the president, and Cindy Temple is the vice president.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Rochelle Redis is the secretary.
No, I'm
Pardon-
a parliamentarian, sorry.
Yeah, and Sandy Campbell is the secretary.
Okay, thank you. Ryan?
All right. Well, thank you for introducing all of us, or yourselves to us. And if we all could, we are going to start with our topics for discussion. This is kind of, the way we're going to do things tonight. Some of these are really quick and easy answers. Some of them will be, you'll need some time to think about things and to kind of process. But the first topic of discussion is the procedure for reimbursement of candidate travel expenses by the district. So let's go ahead and talk about that. First off, we're in a COVID world. So none of us thought that we were going to be in this situation that we're in right now currently, but we are. And just to let you know, we're able to handle it as a firm. We have actually started searches with COVID-19. We've actually ended searches with COVID-19, and we're in the middle of searches with COVID-19. So we've kind of perfected how we do things during this time. So with that being said, you might incur some expenses as far as travel goes from candidates if all of this gets lifted and you're able to actually see them in person. If that happens, we just need to necessarily know, are you going to pay for the candidate expenses? I will go ahead and preface that 99.5% of the districts across the country do this. You're hiring a professional, you're hiring a CEO, you're hiring a leader of your community, as well as your school system. So is the board okay with reimbursement of candidate travel expenses?
okay. Comments, please, from the board, Ms. Campbell?
I have no problem with it. It's been raised.
Okay, Ms. Huggins,
Yes, I think we should reimburse their travel expenses.
Dr. Redis,
I have no comment. I believe we should.
Mr. Steele,
Yeah, I have a question. You said candidates. Are you talking about paying for people who come out of town to interview?
That's correct.
Or you're talking about? Okay, so how many are you anticipating could possibly be interviewed?
Well,
So,
that
we have
depends
a
on
process.
all of you. So that depends on all of you. So what normally happens, we present a slate of 10 candidates to you that best meet your profile and what you're looking for in your school system. So of those 10, we have something called the matrix. It's something that we developed, and you'll do it individually as board members, and then you'll see a ranking of how you all each scored those candidates. And normally, if we bring a slate of 10 candidates to you, you're probably going to bring 5 candidates back, okay?
Yeah.
5 candidates could be local. Those 5 candidates could be in the region. You may have a rock star candidate coming out of Denver, Colorado. We just don't know where they're coming from yet. And so, yes, we're talking about air flights, we're talking about hotels, and if they're local, we're talking about maybe some gas.
And like Ryan said, you make that decision as to how many of those 10 or 11, whatever candidates we bring. You determine from the matrix that he mentioned how many people you want to bring in for a face-to-face.
Okay, thank you for that. So if we bring in that candidate from Denver or Hawaii or wherever, we pay their expenses. So if they come and interview for the job and they don't get it, then the district is just out of that money?
Yeah, you pay to have them come in and interview, yes. And like I said, this is 99.5% of the districts do this across the country. It's something that, listen, you want to find the best superintendent possible for your community and your district. And so you just never know where that candidate is going to come from. If that person is within the community now, great. If it's in the region, great. But you could have somebody like yourself that is a graduate of North Little Rock, and maybe that candidate is up in New York City right now, and they want to come home. And so it's important to think about those kind of things. Now, if you want to do a regional search and you just want to do like some of the surrounding states of Arkansas, then we can do a regional search. But if you want to find that best candidate, no matter where they come from, the best candidate for your kids in the nation, then we can do that as well. And that's primarily what we do. We're a nationwide firm.
And Mr. Steele, it's been my...
And hold on just a second, if I could.
Okay.
Finish. Okay, thank you. So if that candidate from Denver or New York comes down for the interview,
Mm-hmm.
we would compensate them and pay for that. And I certainly understand that in the private sector, but as you know, we're in the public sector, and these are taxpayer dollars. So if they come down for the interview and we pay for their expenses and say they get the job as superintendent, do we pay them to come back as well?
If they get the job, then yeah, I mean, that's a whole topic of discussion for when you hire somebody. That's called, are you talking about like moving expenses? Because most of the districts across the country, again, 99.5% also provide moving expenses as well.
Okay, yeah, this is new to me because last superintendent we had was from right here in North Little Rock, so I'm new to this this whole issue. So yeah, that answers those questions. But is this not budgeted in the none of this is budgeted there, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the $25,000 that we're paying your firm? None of that travel. This is on top of the $25,000.
This is on top. That their travel, is on top.
Okay.
Now you can choose to go ahead and say no, we're not going to. But when we go ahead and tell candidates, hey, listen, they're not going to pay for travel expenses, you might lose candidates.
That's my point. I wanted to make that point. Many times when these candidates look at the profile and they see that the board is not going to pay for the travel, some of the better candidates will back out of the search at that time. So it is a plus for that to be a part of the process, because your better candidates going to expect that, because that's pretty much what happens nationwide. Is the school district pays for the top candidates, or the ones that you want to interview. If you want to go through that process, they usually pay for them to come and then reimburse them for their travel. But also, Ryan, we have a process. If you don't want to do that, you don't want to bring in the candidates in, we could do some things through Zoom.
Yeah, I mean, in today's world, you know, again, I started this off with, we're assuming that if it's lifted that we would be in this situation, but we just had a district in the Kansas City area wrap up their search last night, and they did everything by Zoom. So if we're still in this situation, then this is all a moot point.
Yes, that's an option. That's an option for the board to think about. We're just going through a process here, but that's an option too. Okay?
Okay. Your question answered, Mr. Steele?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Temple?
Yes, I think we should reimburse any travel expense, but I would say, I'm assuming they're gonna fly like I would, coach and that type of thing. We're not paying first class travel.
That is correct. They're going to be just like us. If this thing is lifted, they're going to be just like us, and we'll be there in person with you guys to present these candidates. But you know, we don't stay at the you know, the Ritz-Carlton. We stay at the Holiday Inn or the Hampton Inn. So that is exactly what we would tell these candidates to be doing.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Walker?
You need to unmute.
Okay.
Okay, let's try that again. Will you mute her? That's where the feedback is coming. I think we need to pay.
We got your answer. Okay. So it sounds like everybody is going forward, reimbursing the candidate travel expenses if that's a situation that we have down the road.
Okay. Well, with the board's consensus, the majority stated that it would be no problem, because I thought if we would actually bring someone that far from any state, we would certainly hope this would be somebody we wanted, and we would not waste our money just to look at a person, okay?
Exactly.
Well, of course. Again, the board has to bring consensus to go ahead and say who's going to come in and interview. So that's up to the board.
I know, we got that. Mr. Ray, the next thing you were saying, establish number 2, can we go to that now? Where you asked to establish a timeline for the superintendent search?
Yeah, so we gave you 2 timelines. If everybody can look at that, we have one timeline that starts today. Both timelines we have correct. So we know already good on that, because the first meeting is 6/1. We have one start date that ends in November 16th, okay? And then end date that ends the week of November 16th. And then we have another one that ends the week of August 17th. So we put these together. We really just need to know exactly what the board wants to do. None of these dates are set in stone, by the way. We just went ahead and did a suggested timeline of going through the summer and through the fall. And then we have one that's a little bit more quick that would get us done in the week of August. So we just need to be directed as what the board is thinking. Do you want to do this through the summer and be done with this in August? Or do you want to go through the fall? And I can tell you that there's benefits of going longer through the fall because during that time, most of the state organizations across the country have their meetings. So the Illinois School Board Association is having their meetings. We're going to be there recruiting. Iowa's going to have their meetings. We're going to be there recruiting. So as far as from a recruitment standpoint, we can go ahead and do both. And we have done both successfully, but you probably will get maybe some better candidates if you go longer in the fall.
And I would like to ask you all, when do y'all want to have a new superintendent in the district? Has the board decided yet when y'all want to have a new superintendent in the district? Is that something y'all discussed?
Dr. Davis, at this time in that you all sent us 2 proposals, one for this 3 months,
right,
and the other one for the fall, I will call on each board member and they can, we can make the decision, okay?
Okay.
We
Can I
do,
ask a question before you do that, Ms. Williams?
yes,
Okay, if we decided to go through the fall to the November date, when would that person be available? Would that be the next summer?
No,
Or-
that could be at Christmas, possibly in December.
It could be. The fact is that person willing to leave their district in the middle of the year?
Yeah.
Some people would be willing to do that. Some people would not be. So yeah, my guess would be that most people would say, I'm not going to leave my district in a lurch. So I would be available to start next summer.
Okay, and then if we did the August?
That's something that you all could talk to the candidate about that might work that problem out. A lot of superintendents, many superintendents will leave at Christmas. They wouldn't want to leave in the middle of the year like he's saying, but Christmas, generally, if there's an opportunity and y'all agree, they could probably leave at Christmas.
okay, at
What
this
about-
time, excuse me,
If
Ms.
they
Temple.
followed the August timeline, when could we expect to have someone in place?
You might have somebody in place by the time of the start of school.
If school starts back on time, you could have someone in place. It just depends on the candidate and the time frame that they have once you select the person that you want to bring in your district.
Okay. At this time, the board can make a decision on the superintendent search suggested procedure and timeline. The one that says from 6/1 to August 17th, and the other one predicted for the fall. Ms. Sandy Campbell. Okay, Ms. Huggins.
I think I'd rather go on the shorter timeline, but not at the expense of not finding a quality candidate.
And
If
what
I could
do you-
speak to that,
AOB?
if I could go ahead and speak to that. There are quality candidates out there right now. I'm just letting you know. I know of, just off the top of my head, 2 of them. One is a former National Superintendent of the Year. I talked with him this afternoon, and he's out there and he's kind of looking at districts. But are you going to? I just want you to know there are good people out there right now. So sorry.
We recruit good candidates that may have positions right now. We will go after those candidates and put your material out there in front of them. It's like Ryan said, we'll find great candidates to bring before you. We're not going to put you in a position where you won't have good quality.
Yeah, I just don't want a warm body sitting in a chair. I want that person to be who you want.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want just a warm body either.
I completely agree with you. So we're on the same page there.
We've been around too long to be able to do that.
Dr. Redis.
I would rather wait till the fall with the uncertainty of what's going to happen in August. I think that needs to be our priority focus right now. So I'm going with the fall.
Okay. Mr. Steele.
I would choose the fall as well, simply because what Dr. Redis has said. And in addition to that, if we really want to have real community input, real community dialogue, meetings throughout our city, that's going to be very difficult to do this summer with everything else that's going on. So I think we'd get more involvement and support from our community if we did wait until fall.
Okay, Ms. Temple, I know you had already had questions previously, but what is your,
My preference is to do the shorter schedule, but I'm like Ms. Huggins, and I don't want to miss quality, I don't want to change time for quality, but my preference would be the shorter schedule.
okay. Ms. Walker,
The shorter schedule is fine.
okay, so what is the status, Ms. Colquitt? Oh, well, my concern was, I really like the August, being honest, but I know the pandemic is here, and I don't know how we're going to get people in the flow. And, but the thing I was thinking about, I'm looking at this point, Dr. Davis and Mr. Ray. If we waited till the reason I thought about the summer, they would have more of an opportunity to break a contract if they wanted to come to the North Rock School District, okay? And then I thought about if the fall, they already invested in their schools and I wouldn't see anybody leave it. And that was my reason for wanting the summer. Now, what's the vote? August, okay. August, Dr. Davis and Mr. Ray, August.
Okay.
Okay, we can do that. And just so you know, we're going to have a survey that's going to be up, and so all of your community can take that survey. And there's only one catch. You can only do it. We make sure that people can't do it like multiple times on the same IP address. So, but it can be put up in different languages. I think we can put it up in like something like 13 different languages. So that survey, you'll be able to get input, and we can share later on down the road some of the ways we've had community input through the COVID as well. But if August is the majority, we're going to go with August.
And as Ryan just shared about the survey really gives the community an opportunity to share in the process. And we take all the surveys and we put them into this computer program, and it gives you some data, the board and the community, about what everybody is saying as a group. This is really a popular piece of what we do, because they can do it online and they can do it from their house.
Yeah, and not only that, they take the survey, but at the end of the survey is a blank page for them to write whatever their heart desires to you as board members. We don't alter any of that information. We just simply go ahead and put it all into documents for you, and you can read it as well.
Okay, I did note that in this August, on August the 8th, you said that you were going to contact constituents and stakeholders for input meetings on the 6th, 17th. And I got a check by that. And I want to know, how would you proceed with that? Because in that and the reason I'm asking, with the funds that we're paying you all, I want to know, you have us highlighted. These are things that you're just asking the board to do. But the things that are not highlighted, these are things that you're going to do. Is that correct?
Well, we're going to do
the timeline, sir. Mr. Ray, like the beginning and preparing material for the district promotional flyer, notify all associates and other professional contacts. And then the one on 6/8 says contact constituents and stakeholders for inputting on meeting for the 6/17. So I'm asking, are you all doing that?
So we're going to begin the preparation of information for the district. We're going to notify all of our associates, but we're going to look to you as far as contacting constituent or your stakeholder groups. Because here's the deal. I don't know your community. I don't live in your community. I don't know necessarily if Kiwanis is a big part of your community. I don't know any of your business leaders. I don't have any of their phone numbers. You all do. You know who we need to talk with in your community.
I
If I
think,
go down to the YWCA, you know, and the YWCA is somebody that you want us to talk with, we don't know that information. So one of the questions that we have later on down the road here is, number one, who is our board contact? And number two, who is our district contact? And we would look to the district contact to be able to help us as far as that goes. Again, if we were able to be there in person, we also don't know where we couldn't have these meetings at because we're not part of your community. So that was something that we would ask of you, and we would work.
On that, and other board members can comment, because basically the contact, we know that we're here in North Little Rock, and it's so easy for us to say special meeting, and that all of our stakeholders who want to be a part of it can automatically become a part of it. Since when this pandemic, this is the difference, that would have to be, you know, via Zoom. But whatever, I'm saying the process that could be used is that we would notify our stakeholders in North Little Rock that there's a particular meeting with Ray and company about the search, and then they could Zoom in or whatever their interest is, and perhaps we can proceed in that manner. I know you all do not know anybody, but we do have assets, and I think our technology, Mr. Staggers and Ms. Colquitt could set that up, because we want to move forward with this if at all possible. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely what we've done in the past with other districts during this COVID thing. So my thing is, I know Molly, who's our vice president, has done a lot of this with a couple of different groups and in a couple different ways. So we would just go ahead and try to find the best route. And
Okay.
yeah,
Mr. Davis, and while we're on that, I'm sorry, Dr. Davis, but Mr. Ray, I always have board members to come in to have what their input on the situation, because everybody's ideas are important on the board, okay? So Ms. Campbell, what are your thoughts about getting the stakeholders involved?
And before we have had meetings with different members of the community, different times, and it's made a whole lot of difference in searches before.
Ms. Huggins?
Yeah, I think we need to have a variety of options of days and times for our various community members to be able to have input.
Okay. Dr. Reddish?
We definitely need the community's input. That's the only reason why I said fall, because I think we're moving too fast. I don't think we're going to get enough input in over the summer, because we only got 2 months, but we definitely need the input of the community.
Okay. Mrs. Steele?
As possible. Remember those meetings we had on last time, and getting that real community involvement is going to be very difficult over Zoom, and certainly in the midst of this pandemic.
Okay. Ms. Temple?
I think community input is important, and I think you've already answered that you can get that through the online surveys. Is that survey going to be the same as what you've given us, or is it a different survey for the community?
It's the same.
it's the same one. And, you know, also we're going to be able to go through, you know, a couple different things, you know, Google Live, you know, there's different ways to go ahead and do this with these groups. And, you know, we can go ahead and start getting some information together and have conversations about that with your district contact or board president tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning even.
Okay. Ms. Walker?
I'm all for community input. My concern is it's going to become another Old Main issue where we are too far advanced and we are dragging our feet because we're waiting on results from the community.
Okay. Dorothy Williams, of my proceed that we can proceed, Mr. Ray and Dr. Davis.
Okay, well, we kind of hit number 3, discuss the 33 qualities online survey. So that's done. And then we'll determine the constituent groups for the entire process. So my question here is simply this. Are you going to interview these folks as a board, all 7 of you, and you are going to be making the decision, or are you going to have a committee? Is this committee going to interview these people, or is this going to strictly be a board decision? That's kind of what I want to know.
Okay, I will ask each individual board member how they were going to handle that, Dr. Davis and Mr. Ray. Ms. Campbell.
Before we had done this. I'm muted by the host. Before when we, Lana, come here.
You're unmuted, you're good.
Okay. We have done this before, is to get community members that we all know, and we all know some by heart by now, that can help us in the community to get people involved. It's going to be hard this summer because a lot of people are still sequestered at home, and we'll just have to work at it.
So I guess my thing is, again, we're going to get input from your constituent groups. We're going to get input from the survey. But when it comes down to the time to interview people, is it just going to be the board, or are you going to have a subcommittee that is going to be part of that whole process as well? So is it?
Mr. Ray?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to say to you, previously when we have done this, we always let the community hear, let the applicant present themselves to the community, and then the stakeholders. And then in terms the survey that you all get back from them, the stakeholders, and listening to them, then you present that to the board. And then the board does make the final decision on the hiring of the person. But we give the community the opportunity to do that, because they can, if their recommendations are strong enough, we adhere to those. And that's the way it's been in the past.
Let me share something. Generally, what Ryan is saying, basically, if you're going to do a 2-phase search where we bring in those 10 candidates, he said, basically, and then you cut that number down to 5, okay? At that particular point, most boards make a decision as to how, maybe the top 2 of those 5. And then those 2 candidates, then get a chance to meet the community and do all, what you just mentioned, Ms. Williams. And then they come back to you all later that night or that day or whatever, and then the board makes the final decision based on the information that's given from the public, and you all make the final decision of those top 2 candidates. Instead of having 5 folks meeting everybody and going through the process, the board cuts it down to 5, and then cut it to 2, and then send those people throughout wherever you want to send them, and then
I would like to hear the board. I believe in everybody having an input, because North Rock is different from everyone else.
Sure.
And our stakeholders are the persons that have made us survive and where we are now in millages and everything else. So therefore, that's why I'm saying to you, Dr. Davis, I hear what you're saying, but I let the board, and whatever the board, we kind of, at the board, we agree to things that is sound judgment. And so at this time, Ms. Campbell had already spoken. So at this time, I'll let Ms. Huggins speak.
I think it would be good to have community members on the decision panel. But I don't know how else, I don't know what that looks like, I guess. I don't know if that means that all of the board members and then community members, because sometimes when you get too many people in there, then it's hard to make a decision. But I do think this community input is important.
Okay. Dr. Redis?
The way that Dr. Davis explained the process is the process that I'm accustomed to. And so I'm keen to go with the way that he explained it.
Okay. Mr. Steele?
Well, I'm always be for community involvement as much as possible. It's a big decision, and I included in that community should be the people who are going to be working with this individual every day, administrators, principals, teachers, staff members. I think a whole cross-section of people, and I think, Madam President, that's stakeholders, should be involved in this as much as possible. I remember last time, I was just kind of getting on the board. I hadn't been on there too long, but it was a pretty broad, diverse committee, and I thought the committee worked well together. So that process I thought worked well, but I certainly wouldn't support any process without real community input. Shouldn't, even though the superintendent reports to us, shouldn't just be us. We're not going to work with this individual every day. It should be somebody that these individuals feel good about. It's going to be hard to get that feeling through Zoom, but we just have to do the best we can.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Temple?
Yes, I believe in community input as well. However, I think the question is, when do you want that? And I think the way Dr. Davis said it, when you get down, when we narrow it down to the ones that we feel like would be our best fit, we get community input at that point.
Okay, Ms. Walker?
I'm all for community input, but in the past, we've been lied to about the way we're going to get community input, and one or two has stacked the deck against other board members. So that is a concern because of the past lying. So I'm all for community, but at the same time, it needs to be fair and just, and not just one person stacking the deck.
Okay. Dorothy Williams. I agree that we have always had a community in any way that we can involve, and I certainly think that principals cross-section, as you stated, that it needs to be a cross-section of everybody, not only the stakeholders, but teachers, parents, students, everybody, and that can be worked. And I appreciate that thought where everybody will have a part in this. All right. Thank you, Dr. Ray. I'm sorry, Mr. Ray and Dr. Davis. Did you all have anything else to say?
No, and again, this is something that we don't have to really nail down tonight. This is something we can talk about, as we go on. So,
okay.
The next number is 5. So who will be the consultant's in-home contact person? So who is going to be our contact for the district? We would utilize this person for when we go ahead and make a flyer for people to download. We might ask them for district stock photos and stuff like that. Who would that be?
Now, if you need that person to do that, that is Dustin Barnes. Dustin, he is the person that does this.
He's going to be.
He does that part, but Madam President, I would think it would be better to be HR, would be Dr. Smith.
Okay.
So Dr. Smith would be able to answer our questions regarding, and he would be able to discuss with us about who your constituent groups are going to be, where they're going, so he's our contact, Dr. Smith.
Can it not be both?
It's not clear to you, Dr. Red. That's what you're trying to. Mr. Ray, explain to her again what you're saying.
So we need a district contact. This person is going to be able to help us with constituent groups. This person is going to be able to help us maybe get information to the board. This person is going to be able to get us some stock photos for the profile flyer we're going to develop. So we just need one contact for the district to provide all that.
I got you. That would be Dustin.
Okay. Thank you. Dustin, did you get the name, Mr. Ray?
Dustin Smith.
Dustin Barnes.
That's
Barnes.
it.
Okay. So we will contact Dustin. He will be our district contact for that. And then my question to you all is, who is our board contact? So we actually always say we want one board contact because all information is going to flow through that one contact, and that contact is going to distribute the information to the rest of the board and vice versa.
That would be our secretary, that she would disseminate. She always disseminate all the information, like all the things that you sent us today at the last minute. She would be the person.
And
Her
you
name is
said-
Rhonda Colquitt.
Okay. No, but actually, I was asking for a board contact.
Board person.
I know. Okay, board contact, I'm sorry. But when
That
you
would be
disseminating the information, that'll be Dorothy Williams, okay? And then I'll make sure that the information get to you as board members, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Got it? Mr. Ray?
Okay, number 6. So discuss the procedures for developing the promotional flyer and the description. We just figured out that that is going to be Mr. Dustin Barnes. And so the only question that I have for you is, do you want to go ahead and have us make that promotional flyer for you? Or do you want to go ahead and do it yourselves? Every once in a while, a district has, you know, somebody that specializes in that. But normally for 95% of the searches that we do, we develop it for you.
Ms. Campbell? Ms. Huggins?
I say let them do it.
Okay. Dr. Redis?
they can let them do it.
Mr. Steele? Ms. Temple?
They can do it.
Okay. Mr.
Okay.
Walker?
Them.
And me, let them do it.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
so again, we're going to develop it for you. And we'll just need maybe some information from Dustin Barnes, but at one of our meetings coming up, we will have a sample flyer for you to approve. Okay.
Okay.
All right. The number 7, we're going kind of quick on these. Some of them are just yeses and nos. Approval of online application. So we gave you an example of the application. This application we've been using for 45 years. It's been seen by lawyers for districts across the country, as well as our lawyers. We've used it for small searches. We've used it for the 4th largest system in the country, as well as state commissioner searches. So you could take a look at it. If you approve it, great. If not, that's fine as well. It's a big application.
Cameron, did you approve of the online application that they had in the packet that Ms. Colquitt had put in? Okay, you have it. This application is for superintendents of school coming soon, North Rock. And this was the online application, Mr. Ray. I don't know if you can see my paper.
That's it.
Okay, that's it.
Yes,
Yep.
ma'am.
Okay, I'll ask the board members for approval. We are all in this together, Dr. Davis. The reason I
Yes.
called on them, one person does not, monopolize on the board.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Huggins?
I didn't see that in my packet, but if everybody else is okay with it, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Dr. Redis?
Good.
Mr. Steele? Ms. Temple?
I don't.
Ms. Walker?
I'm fine with this.
Okay, and I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Ray, you may move to the next item.
All right, so then we have number 8 is the approval of all advertisements. Let me just go ahead and say this. Carl and I are not here to spend your money, all right? As consultants, we're here to tell you where you're gonna get your biggest bang for your buck. And so if you take a look at that suggested superintendent search advertising sheet that we have for you, we're going to go ahead and suggest a couple things. AASA, that top one, the job bulletin, that is the mecca of where people go and look for superintendent jobs. So I would suggest to you that you do the AASA, and then below that, there is Ed Week, Educational Week newspaper website. Those are the two places that superintendents go and look to find out where there are jobs open. So I would suggest those two to you. And then in a district like yourself, where there's diversity, I would also select NAPSE, which is the National Alliance of Black School Educators, which we are affiliated with, as well as ALICE, which is the next one, and it's the Latino Administrators place to advertise. So those are the four places that I would tell you to spend your money as far as advertising goes. The others, if you want to go ahead and advertise there, great. If you don't, that's fine. But obviously, there's free ones down here. Let's hit all the free ones. Why not? It's free.
And you all will be on our website too. We got one of the most popular websites in the country that people visit our website quite a bit. So you will have that naturally by us being a part of this process. But what Ryan is saying makes a lot of sense, because these guys, I know when I was a superintendent, I was looking for positions. These would be the places that I would look.
So our suggestion to you is to do the AASA, Ed Week, NAPSE, and ALICE, those first four, and then all the free ones, we might as well do it. But things like, one of the things on here is School Leadership 2.0. It's $150. Save your money. I would not advertise there. So now I'll open it up to the board.
Okay, board members, Ms. Campbell. Okay. Ms. Huggins.
I'm good with his recommendations.
Okay. Dr. Rudders.
I'm good.
Okay. Mr. Steele. Is still gone. Okay. Ms. Temple. You okay?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Walker.
So I would say just the AASA, because if that's going to be Mecca, I would think everyone else would go to that one in addition to the free. And I would say the $450, $400, almost $800, but it's whatever the board decides.
Okay. And what's the vote, Ms. Copeland? Huh? Okay. We go with the recommendation of Mr. Ray.
Okay.
All right.
Wonderful. So now we're on number 9. So are there any specific state requirements for the position that we need to know about? I don't think that there are. For example, in the state of Wisconsin, you have, in order to be a superintendent, you have had to teach for 3 years at a minimum. I don't believe that Arkansas has that law, but you know, we can't keep up with all 50 states' laws, and sometimes things change. So are there any state specific requirements that you know about?
There's something, but I don't know what it is. But I remember when we were hiring Principal Kirstall, we hired him on a temporary basis based on some license he had to have
Right.
to keep his superintendent.
Yeah, obviously you're going to have to get, a license for sure. And a lot of those licenses, if you have a license in the state of Texas, they'll allow you to kind of move that license over to Arkansas as well. But Carl, some of the other,
what we normally do is any candidate that we have in that top 10 or 11, how many that we see that fit your criteria, we're going to ask them to go ahead and start the process of checking to see can they get certified. We put that back on them. Arkansas is a little bit different. I did a search in Pulaski and a while back, and
That's what I was. No, I was just saying, you just did Pulaski County, and why would you not have that information?
Well, what I'm saying is his situation was a little bit different based on his experience. And he
Okay.
can get certified, but that's something that we require that all of our candidates that make that top 10 get in the process of checking independently with the state to make sure that they can get that certification and get back with us. So we shouldn't have a problem, but that is something we definitely check out, and it's also on our application.
Yeah, and so the reason why we asked that, we're doing our due diligence because something could have happened yesterday that changed in your state. So we're just trying to make sure that, you know, everything hasn't changed. But we'll go ahead and do our own research and check with your state organizations as well and make sure that there's nothing there. All right?
But each individual has to present their material to the state to see if they are able to get qualified. So, but we'll work on that process. We were just asking if there was anything right off the top of your all's head. Some states have that it's a little bit different. But we'll
background check.
Yeah, a background check is part of our process. So yeah, we do a professional check on all the people that will be presented to you, and then when it gets down to the final top 2 or 3, we do the criminal, you know, driver's license, bankruptcy records, and all that kind of stuff. So you'll have all that, and by the time, you know, you get to, you know, picking your superintendent, you know, their record will be clean, and you'll be able to see everything.
Okay.
So the next thing is number 10. Number 10, is the board willing to offer a contract to a finalist that would need to obtain licensing in Arkansas? So Carl, do you want to go ahead and kind of speak to that?
Well, I mean, here again, if they can't get certified, really, truly, you cannot offer them the job because they don't have what they need in their background to be certified. So the board would not offer someone a contract if they aren't certifiable.
No, Carl, what I think we're trying to ask in that question is that candidate may be certified in the state of Tennessee, and now they need to be certified in the state of Arkansas. Most of the time, you know, board, that is a simple test. It's the same test that they took in that other state. It can be done with, you know, very easily. And very quick. It's just asking, you know, would you be willing to go ahead and, you know, offer that position to the person in the state of Tennessee, knowing full well that they can take that simple test and give their paperwork to the state of Arkansas, knowing full well that they can be certified.
But what we have is reciprocity.
Correct.
Many times, if they can be certified in another state, generally they are certifiable in that other state too, because the states work together, unless it's something really different about a particular state. But generally, if they're certified in the superintendent here in Georgia, they're going to be, because of reciprocity, they'll be okay in another state. But that's something that we will always check out before we bring the candidates to you, because we don't want to bring somebody to you all and you like them, and they can't get their license.
Okay.
So but that's something we'll work on.
Okay. So, Mr. Ray, would you wait for an answer from the board?
No, I think I think we're okay on that.
Yeah,
Everybody would be in agreement on that. So on number 11, who is the contact the firm should send invoices for payment?
Brian Brown.
Brian Brown.
Yes.
And he is?
CFO.
Okay. And lastly, number 12 is the discussion of the salary and benefits for the position. So I want to make it very clear to you all, we do not have to make a decision on salary tonight. What we did is we just provided you with some numbers so you can start to get your juices flowing and start thinking about things down the road. We prepared a salary comparison for you, and you can see the districts there: Fayetteville, Bryant, Conway, Fort Smith, Van Buren, Bentonville. You can see their enrollment. You can see their 2018-19 base salary, their estimated 19-20 salary, and 2021 salaries. So we just want you to know that this is what the salaries are, and the estimated salaries are out there. And we just kind of want you to start thinking of where you're at right now and where you're going to have to end up.
Well,
and go ahead.
Right. We do have, I'm glad for your statement there, but we have Brian is on this line. And the reason I requested that he be here, I'll have Ms. Cole quick to look at it, but he has to look at our finances, and all our board members looked at the comparison. Bryant, Rogers, Fayetteville, all of those places. But still, North Little Rock have to look to see what we have. And if you think it's important enough, Brian can contact the board and let us know what he feels that is feasible and where these, the money is coming from. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that, but
I know you have to put it out. But what I'm saying, Brian can pick up the same information that you sent to us today about the comparisons. And I know you will need it sooner or later. And I thank you for saying that, because Brian will need an opportunity to look at our budget and what we can spend. That's why I was making the statement.
That's fine. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to do a national one for you. Okay?
Okay.
So I have access to all the salaries across the country in districts like you and in district size like you. So I'm going to send over a national salary comparison as well as a state comparison. So what we need to do is, we need to find the best superintendent out there, and we need to know, obviously, you got to put a little worm on a hook in order to entice some people out there. So we got to make sure that we're, because you're not just competing against yourself here as far as finding a superintendent. You're competing against people across the state as well as the country that are going to be putting different salaries out there. And so you got to make yours a little sweet in order to go ahead and be competitive out there, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. And that's why we have to look at our budget to see what we can afford.
That's fine. And you can go ahead.
Great point. We don't have to have that tonight.
No.
Okay? We don't have to have this tonight. This will give the board enough time to be able to meet with your finance person, and y'all to get together to kind of give us a figure. All we've done is just kind of give you an idea of what it's like in the state of Arkansas. And then, as Ryan just said, we'll look at one nationally and just give you more information so that the decision that y'all make will be one that's in the best interest of the district and of the budget too.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Our board members, they've reached the last item on here. I would like to ask at this time, we will go back and I'm asked each board member if they have any questions to ask you all, okay? Dr.
I got one other thing that I want to share too, if I can at this particular time. Part of our process is that we start the interview process of interviewing board members first by phone, okay? And what I would like to do this week and have it done by Friday if possible is to send you all an email individually and then tell me, because I'm going to do those phone interviews with you all, and tell me what's a good time that I can contact you and that we can set up a time that we can probably spend about maybe 20 minutes together on the phone. We have about 13 questions that we ask all board members the same question. I've already read your bios. I read everybody's bios, and you've already answered a couple of our questions. But I want to just check with you to see if there's anything else you want to add to it, okay? And if I will send that email out to you tonight, and just anytime this week, just say, Carl, I want to meet with you at 9 o'clock, say Wednesday morning, I'll call you. I have a week that's available to be able to get in touch with you guys. But I will send that email out to all 7 of you all tonight. I have your email, and you just tell me, Carl, I want to meet at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. You know, whatever it is, and I will call you at that time, and we'll get this part done. But we do this for all of our searches. We want every board member to be able to share with us the answer to some question that we're providing. We take that information, and that information helps us to get out and look for candidates that meet the criteria, along with all the other stuff that we're going to put together for your school district. That's all, Ms. Williams.
So,
thank you.
So look for an email coming from Carl.
Tonight.
Okay. I was asking if any board members had any questions to ask you all before you all tell us good night. And what was the purpose of the 33 counts?
The 33 qualities. So the 33 qualities is your survey that we would be putting up. So the fact is, you would like to go ahead and have a superintendent or a leader have all of those qualities. I mean, they're all great qualities, but the fact is we limit you to only selecting 10.
Okay.
And same as your public. So you'll be doing those surveys, your public will be doing their surveys, and that's the catch.
And what we found is it's 33 of them, like Ryan said, but you're only going to select 10. And we find people will say they're so close together that, I mean, I can't really, but we made it like that because we really want you to think about it, get really serious about those characteristics that you're looking for. We got 33 on the page, but you're only going to select 10, which makes it tough, but it makes you think about what you're looking for in your district. Okay?
Okay. Ms. Campbell, did you have any comments? Ms. Huggins?
So do we need to fill out those 33 qualities and send it back to you?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not at this time. We'll go ahead and let you know. We'll send it to you in an email and whatnot.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Redis?
Good.
Okay. Mrs. Steele, I guess he's there.
No questions.
Okay, then. How you doing, Mrs. Steele? I missed you twice. Okay.
I'm doing good.
All right.
See you, Madam President.
Cindy Temple?
Yes, I have one question on here. In the packet you gave us, you said that we could have a board self-assessment survey.
Yes.
That's not clear. Oh.
Yeah, throughout all of it, I heard it. So, yeah. So at the end of the process, after you go ahead and you hire a superintendent, we're going to do a board self-assessment survey with you. Okay, it's all electronic. You as individual board members do it, and then we come back and we present the findings to you. And the beautiful thing about us is that we will do that for you as a board for free every single year that this placement is with you.
Okay. Ms. Temple, did he answer your question?
When we talked about community involvement, and you said something about the district contact during committee selection. Is that the intention of the board having input in committee selection?
She's not clear on here.
Did you understand that? Right? I couldn't.
No, quite frankly, I didn't. I know she was talking about constituent meetings and whatnot.
Ms. Temple, would you try it again?
Okay.
Who was going to be your contact at the district, and you were talking about the committee selections and stuff. I just want to make sure everybody has an input with that. And so we're just double checking how that process is done.
Carl?
Person in the district picking on amendments.
When we talk, if it's okay, Ms. Temple, when we talk, would you mind sharing that question with me on the phone so I can clearly understand and I can respond to you at that particular time? I don't want to give you an answer because I didn't really get all of what you were saying. I apologize.
Her internet is having some problems because I can't hear her. Our tech person said that everything that you're saying, Ms. Temple, is coming out a lot of stagnant in it.
Sorry.
We'll talk.
Okay. You can type the question. He said you can type the questions, Ms. Temple.
Yes.
Ms. Temple, are you okay with just asking the question when Carl calls you? Okay. Madam Chair?
Okay. Are you going to type it?
No, she's going to answer it. Carl
Okay,
calls.
then. All right. Ms. Walker?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. And I guess Dorothy Williams. Would someone move to join the meeting, please?
Madam Chair, I move to adjourn.
Do I have a second? It has been moved and properly second that we adjourn. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Ray Company. We expect to hear from you soon.
Okay. I was
Again, thank you all.
So nice meeting all of you all, and we'll be talking in the future.
Yeah, we look forward to going ahead and helping you find your next leader. And so again, this is what we do. We're very excited to help you. So I appreciate you being here tonight and giving us some of your time. So thank you very much.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget, the next time you send us information, don't do it all in one day. Thank you.
We'll have it ready.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ms. Williams.
Thank you.
Thank everyone. Bye-bye.